This is Nightline.
Tonight, the desperate search for survivors of the devastating Texas floods.
We remain hopeful every foot, every mile, every bend of the river.
The girls at the beloved summer camp at the epicenter of the destruction and heartbreak.
It is the safest place on earth. That night on July 4th, it quickly became the most unsafe place on earth, but not just Mystic, the whole hill country.
With more than 100 dead, the stories of heroism and survival, from clinging to trees to the rescue swimmers who raced to help.
I had about 200 kids mostly, all scared, terrified, cold.
My brother here, he had to swim out of his cabin.
And the questions being raised tonight about emergency warnings. Plus, the Idaho college murders. What the parents of one victim say Brian Kohberger did to their daughter as she fought for her life. Coming just days after Kohberger's stunning plea change.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
The siblings of triplet Ethan Chapin breaking their silence.
I was like, where's Ethan and Xana? And he's like, they're not here anymore. Like, what do you mean they're not here anymore?
And how the new plea deal has divided the victims' families.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight in Texas, while families reel from devastating losses, including dozens of children, an increasingly frantic effort to find survivors of the deadly flood, where a wall of water formed in just minutes. Here's ABC's Matt Gutman.
Tonight, the desperate search and recovery for survivors in central Texas. By air, foot, and water going through the mangled wreckage left in the wake of that fatal flash flood.
We remain hopeful every foot, every mile, every bend of the river.
Oh my God!
But the clock is ticking. Search efforts entering their fourth day after torrential rain sent the Guadalupe River surging, turning the holiday weekend into a trail of horror.
Water rose so quick, you couldn't do anything about it.
You know what I see? I see a graveyard. This is sacred ground. It's real hard not to feel bad because I know some of these people.
Dozens of people still missing, at least 105 people dead, more than 1,000 people have been rescued.
In debris fields like this, there are dozens of workers. You can see them scattered. There are debris piles like this extending for dozens of miles down the Guadalupe River.
And among the dead, at least 27 children from one summer camp, the beloved Camp Mystic.
These are babies that were lost.
It is the safest place on earth. That night on July 4th, it quickly became the most unsafe place on earth, but not just Mystic, the whole hill country.
Now the stories of their heroism.
And there was, 200 kids looking to someone for some sort of comfort and safety.
And survival.
We saw all of the other camps destroyed, obliterated.
Plus, questions being raised about emergency warnings. Could more lives have been saved in the second deadliest flood in Texas history?
We know we get rains, we know the river rises, but nobody saw this coming.
Texas Hill Country, known for its majestic beauty, has been home to several summer camps for generations. But it's also been dubbed Flash Flood Alley.
This area of Texas is called Flash Flood Alley because of its steep terrain, its shallow soil, and the numerous high-intensity rainfall events that happen, especially because of its proximity to the Gulf and getting moisture even from the Pacific.
At the epicenter of these deadly floods, Camp Mystic. It's a Christian girls' camp near Hunt, Texas, where 750 campers spent the night into July 4th. Several campers and a counselor are still missing.
It was just a normal day. The day before, nobody had any idea what was going to happen.
Camp nurse Devin Williams filming the day's festivities before tragedy struck, staff entertaining campers in the dining hall, games being played on the lawn outside. Caroline Cotrona was a counselor at the camp's nearby Cypress Lake, 9 minutes from the Guadalupe River, where she was also previously a camper for 7 years. Never would she have thought the sanctuary for so many girls would be destroyed.
We went to bed. Thunder came in around midnight. I woke up about every hour looking at the clock and just watching the night go on. And I was like, wow, it's still storming. It's still storming. It's still storming.
At 3:35 a.m., the National Weather Service upgrading a previous flash flood warning, urging people to move to higher ground now. But Caroline, like so many others, didn't get that notification.
We turn in our phones, so none of us had our phones because that's just what all camps do anywhere. That's part of the reason I wanted to go is you don't have your phone.
It was sometime between 4 and 6 a.m. when the nearby Guadalupe River surged, rising 26 feet in less than an hour.
In the atmosphere, you had this really slow-moving system that's just circulating and barely moving. On top of that, you added moisture from 3 distinct places. So that's like turning on 3 faucets into a kiddie pool and just letting them pour and pour and pour.
This time-lapse video showing just how fast another nearby river rose hours later. Houses washed away, bridges severely damaged, trees snapped in half, many toppled, and homes left in the middle of the road. And when the sun rose, an apocalyptic scene, muddy mattresses, those bent bunk beds, and sodden pink comforters.
We had no idea people were missing. We had no idea that they had to wade through water, barely able to stand to get to the pavilion.
Devin and the surviving campers bust to safety.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Those surviving girls singing as they passed through miles of shredded countryside, past the trees that were smashed and the SUVs piled up like toys.
Probably the most dangerous.
Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin telling our David Muir what he witnessed when he landed at that camp. The crew decided Scott would have to stay on the ground with the children. It would allow them to get more out. He ended up rescuing 165 people.
If you stayed on scene, it would give them a little more space in the helicopter.
Yeah, we assumed that, based on weight, we could probably take 2 more kids every trip.
So they got to work. The children, some just 7 and 8 years old, looking to Scott for answers.
Primary, just asking about their friends. They wanted to see if I knew anything about their friends, show me pictures, do whatever they could to try to find their friends. And I just told them, I was like, hey guys, I don't know where they are. We have every crew we can possibly imagine.
At one point, you were carrying 2 girls in one arm.
Yeah, it was 1 in each arm, but yeah, it was just 2 little kids, 7 years old, didn't have shoes on. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna make you guys walk through this mud, while you're trying to get to a helicopter.
Camp Mystic has a storied history. Famous alums include Laura Bush, who worked as a counselor, and the daughters of Lady Bird Johnson. According to the group's website, and seen here in one of their videos, campers are encouraged to develop friendships and learn life skills.
I mean, what camp should be. It's the best place ever, and you have 0 worries there. It's heaven.
Now Caroline and the community are mourning their own and praying for those missing. The families of twin sisters Hannah and Rebecca Lawrence saying in a statement, Hannah and Rebecca gave their parents John and Lacey and sister Harper and all in our family so much joy. They and that joy can never be forgotten. The father of Kellyanne Lytle, who is still missing, releasing this video of her singing The Reindeer Rock at a recent Christmas pageant. Recent high school graduate Chloe Childress, who worked as a counselor, was planning to attend the University of Texas in the fall before dying in the tragedy. Dick Eastland was the beloved owner of Camp Mystic, dying trying to save as many campers as he could.
He was just this kind of camp dad that everyone looked up to and loved, and always present.
A far different outcome at the nearby boys' camp of La Junta, where everyone made it out to safety. But the destruction was severe.
I had a first-hand view of the flood, and my brother here, he had to swim out of his cabin.
Brothers Piers and Ruff and Boyette were at La Junta when the floodwaters rushed in.
On the way here, we saw all of the other camps destroyed, obliterated.
Another harrowing story of survival, 22-year-old Devin Smith rescued after clinging to a tree more than 14 miles downstream. Carl Jeter spotting her from his home and calling first responders.
Help is coming!
That survivor's uncle, Travis Reynolds, meeting that homeowner who spotted her in that tree, hugging him, thanking him, grateful.
It means a lot.
In another rescue, video showing neighbors and local authorities helping to rescue a woman in rapidly rising floodwaters, a chain of people pulling a rope to get her to safety. Officials in the region facing questions about whether lives could have been saved by a better warning system. Kerr County officials said they had previously presented a proposal for a more robust flood warning system, similar to a tornado warning system, but were unable to pass it because of the cost. Stuart Gross, a Texas code enforcement officer from Ingram, says no alert wakened him.
What was it that woke you up?
The fire department.
It wasn't the alert on your
No.
phone? What you're saying is that a better alert system would have saved lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If it wasn't for the Ingram Volunteer Fire Department, we would have lost a lot more people down below.
Officials ducking questions about the alert system and today canceling an afternoon press conference.
It's very tough to make those calls because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf.
The state's Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick speaking to Fox News, saying sirens in the area might have made all the difference.
The state will step up, and we need to have these in place by the next summer.
And tonight, a vigil in Houston for the girls of Camp Mystic, along with other lives lost.
Our thanks to Matt. We'll, of course, have continuing coverage on this story on GMA in the morning and on all ABC platforms. When we return, parents, siblings, and friends of the Idaho college murder victims speak out just days after Bryan Kohberger's shocking plea deal. Welcome back. Bryan Kohberger's stunning plea deal last week, admitting his guilt in the Idaho college murder, is still reverberating. Among the 4 victims' families, some say justice has been served, others saying Bryan Kohberger is the devil himself. Here's ABC's Kana Woodworth.
Defendant is present in custody.
A stunning admission in an Idaho court.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
In the case that gripped the nation, Bryan Kohberger taking a plea deal and admitting to murdering 4 University of Idaho students: Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The deal enraging some of the victims' parents.
Mr. Gonzalez, how are you feeling right now?
I'm pretty let down.
You're let down, you said? You said earlier that you made a deal, they made a deal with the devil. You still feel that way?
Yeah, Bryan's the devil.
By admitting guilt, Kohberger was spared the death penalty and waived his right to appeal in exchange for consecutive life sentences.
It was terrible. We let her down. I let my daughter down, trusting in this.
As bad as you could possibly imagine.
But other victims' families, like Maddie Mogen, saying they have closure.
We support the plea agreement 100%.
Since that guilty plea, the family of Kaylee Gonzalez giving new details in a Facebook post alleging Kohberger killed Kaylee by stabbing her many times as well as beating her in the face and head while it was clear that she fought for her life. A new docuseries on Prime Video, One Night in Idaho, the college murders, revealing never-before-heard information about the night of the murders and the days that followed.
The question everybody wants answered is why? Why these 4 kids?
Many of the victims' family members and friends speaking for the first time about what they saw in the aftermath of the gruesome murders.
Hunter had enough courage to tell them to call the police.
Hunter Johnson was the first person to arrive at 1122 King Road just before noon after the murders.
I would say as soon as you get there, you know something's wrong.
You hear Hunter on the 911 call.
Is she breathing?
No.
How did you remain so calm in that moment?
Truly, in my heart, I believe God was with me that day, and he gave me the strength to get through that day.
Hunter and his girlfriend, Emily Allant, were close friends with Xana and her boyfriend, Ethan. Ethan was a triplet. His 2 siblings, Hunter and Maisie, also went to school with him. His brother arrived at the King Road house, seeing a large police presence.
So I got woken up by my friend, and he's like, there's a ton of cops over at Xana's house.
As you were getting dressed, though, and getting ready to go over there,
I mean, I wasn't worried or anything at the time because I was like, Ethan was 6'4" and 220 pounds, 230 pounds. Like, he's not a small guy. I was like, oh, he'll be fine. It was when I walked over there, I didn't see him outside. So I figured he was inside helping whoever needed to be helped. And that's
because that's what Ethan would be doing.
That was kind of his person. And then Hunter Johnson came up to me and said, I was like, where's Ethan and Xana? And he's like, they're not here anymore. So like, what do you mean they're not here anymore?
Their mother and father, Stacy and Jim Chapin, had just spent Parents' Weekend in Moscow.
It was the most amazing weekend. We could tell that Ethan was serious with Xana.
He was with us for 20 years. And there's not one thing that I don't have any regrets whatsoever. He lived the very best.
You decided to speak in this documentary as a family. How did you come to that decision to do it?
We just decided maybe it was best to tell our story of Ethan literally one time. He deserves it. He deserves our story of him.
It all began the night of November 12th, 2022. Kaylee and Maddie, newly 21 and lifelong best friends, went to a popular campus bar around 10 p.m. They're later seen at the grub truck, laughing, ordering food. Authorities say Xana and Ethan, both 20, were at a fraternity party earlier that same night, arriving home around 1:45 a.m. It would be the last hours of their lives. According to court documents, between 4:22 and 4:24, one surviving roommate texts the other saying she saw a man clad in black. I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like a ski mask almost. The other surviving roommate texting back, run, down here. Prosecutors say Kohberger purchased a K-bar knife like this one from Amazon, along with a sharpener and sheath, and used that to kill the students. The murder weapon was never found, but a sheath containing Kohberger's DNA was found at the murder scene, according to prosecutors. And after nearly 7 weeks, a major break, Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania.
Are you guys finally feeling safe again, or do you still worry?
I struggle still, if he's not home, I don't shower. You grow up not having any fears of it. I mean, I was fearless when I was a kid, and now I fear everything, so.
But I just like the wings.
The Chapins getting commemorative tattoos saying Ethan is always with them.
I love it. He's there.
Yeah.
Me right there, so.
Kind of always have them.
And though the criminal case is over, the imprint those 4 students left on their loved ones will remain forever.
Who they are as people is so much more than the Idaho 4, and they shouldn't be known as the Idaho 4, and they shouldn't be attached to, the name of who did that to them. And I just think that, hopefully one day that they're just seen as who they are and not what happened to them.
Our thanks to Kana. One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, premieres July 11th on Prime Video. When we come back, powerful images from Texas, heroes and helpers. And finally tonight, in the words of the late, great Mr. Fred Rogers, we look for the helpers. In the face of danger, of uncertainty and despair, there are those who step forward to help, who run toward danger, who offer themselves to their neighbors and to perfect strangers. In this time of horror and devastation in Texas, there are the heroes who rescued, who are reaching out and are trying to help make the unthinkable at least bearable. They are the best of us. That's Nightline for this evening. You can watch all of our full episodes on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. We'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Thanks for the company, America. Good night.